Alright, so I've been playing a lot of tournament games with my demons lately, tournament practice games and whatnot, so I decided to give it a rest for a little bit and, you know, pit 4,000 points of Beastmen against some Ogres. So, starting on my left as usual, you can see I got my Herdstone with a bunch of Shamans around it. They're all three of them are using the Lore of Shadow. I have two level 2s and a level 1. All three have Miasma. One has Pit, and then another one has Enfeebling Foe. And then I have 5 Minotaurs with additional hand weapons and Musician. And in that unit I have a Flying Doom Bull who's kitted out like so. That's kind of just a new gear setup I'm giving, I'm trying them out with, just to see how it works. And then in front of the Minotaur unit I have two pigs, and then 5 raiders with Musician. So here in the middle I have my Bestigor Horde, 40 Bestigors full command with the standard discipline, and in there is my Beast Lord, and he is kitted out like so. I have a chariot in front of them, unit of Ungord Raiders up at the very front, and then I have 40 Ungors with full command, and then 5 Harpies, and then I have a herd of 50 Gores with my level 4 using Beast Magic and my Battle Standard kitted out like so. And then I have, in front of there, I have a chariot and 5 Raiders with Musician. And then over here I have another smaller unit of Bestigors. These guys have the Gleaming Pennant, which is a reroll of Failed Leadership Test. Probably one of the best buys in the common magic items for 5 points in my opinion. Then I have another unit of Raiders with Musician. So the Ogres, he has 3 Yetis and 2 Saber Tusks. One is behind the building that you can't really see. Then he's got a Iron Blaster, 6 Man-Eaters kitted out like you can see. And then he has 2 Gorgers that are off the table. Then he's got he's got a horde of bulls, and he's got a Fire Belly and his Battle Standard in there. Unit of 4 Lead Belchers right in the middle, a horde of Iron Guts that has another Fire Belly and a Slaughtermaster in there. Another Iron Blaster, 4 Mournfangs with, I think they have full command. And then 2 Saber Tusks and a unit of Trappers. So the Beastmen get the first turn, and in a wave of unprecedented tactical brilliance, I push it all forward. So shooting and magic are fairly successful. I thought it was a good way to start the game. My level 4 ends up throwing an Amber Spear and killing the Iron Blaster on the right, which is nice because it had a very beautiful flank shot into my Minotaur unit. That really would have been ugly. And then I miasma the movement of his Iron Gut unit down to 1, and this unit of 5 Raiders put 2 wounds on the Man-Eaters with their little bows. So really, you really can't ask for more than that in a first turn as Beastmen. So here we are going to the Ogres' first turn. Okay, so now the Ogres, so this Minotaur unit was kind of an afterthought both in the list creation and in deployment. As you can see, they're over here on the flank with all the crap that you don't want your Minotaurs around, like Saber Tusks and a bunch of stuff that can just redirect them. I mean, it's nice they can kind of stack up blood greed attacks, but it's really going to kind of hamper what I'm able to do with them. I'd really like to get them into the Mournfangs, because ironically enough, Minotaurs will get the crap kicked out of them by Necropolis Knights, but they actually do semi-okay against Mournfangs. They could probably kill half the unit before it got a strike, so yeah, kind of funny that. Anyway, so yeah, I got the pigs moving up, just to gum up the works and cause trouble, hopefully pick off some of these small units. Otherwise, I'm just moving the Raiders and the Chariots up, likewise, just to kind of just keep him from getting those charges, because man, it hurts when the Ogres charge. Here's how we're looking on the right. Okay, yeah, so if you're wondering why he didn't really advance too much in his own turn, it's like I said, in my magic phase, I dropped the movement of his Iron Gut unit down to 1, and so he's just trying to keep pace with them so he doesn't break up the leadership bubble, which I was really hoping he'd do, because it's so much easier to handle their units when they're outside of that. But so as we go to Ogre, shooting, he ends up putting 3 wounds on the chariot on the left and 2 wounds on the one on the right. Actually, I think I ended up burning my Dispel Scroll in his magic phase as well, because he was throwing around some pretty dangerous fire magic that I couldn't stop. So here's how we're looking as we go into the next turn. So charges. Now, my Flying Doombull all the way on the left. I ended up charging him into that Saber Tusk that's right next to the Mournfangs up there, because I'd really like to. By charging that Saber Tusk, it kind of gets him into the backfield with his overrun. It'll give him an extra attack for the Blood Greed, and it'll force a panic test on the Mournfangs when he kills the cat, which is really nice because they're outside of his leadership bubble for his general and his battle standard. So if I could panic off the Mournfangs nice and early, that'd be great. Otherwise, it just looks like so. I charge the chariot on the left into the Iron Blaster and the chariot on the right. Since it's only on 2 wounds, I go ahead and charge it into the bowls to try to take some wounds off and soften them up a little bit. Magic phase is an absolute disaster, though. I was throwing 2 dice at something that really wasn't even important, like a Wild Form or Miasma or something like that, and I got the result that puts a Strength 6 hit on all my casters. So you can see the little markers next to all my Shamans. They all have a wound. In combat, the Minotaurs kill the cat and run off the table. The Doombull kills his cat, and one of my pigs, the pig on the left, kills the Trapper unit. But otherwise, you can see I've just thrown my raiders in front of like the Mournfangs and the Bulls to keep them from getting those long Ogre charges on my units. Now this chariot that I sent into the Bull unit actually failed its charge, so I was not too thrilled about that. So to prevent from him double teaming my Gore unit with the Bulls and the Man-Eaters, I just dropped the Raiders right in front of the Man-Eaters. Okay, so in his next turn is his Gorgers come on right by my Herdstone, predictably. Yeah, really didn't really play smart with my Herdstone. I mean, it's good to have it out of the way against Ogres because I don't need him setting off his Hellheart and just causing miscasts and explosions all over my battle line. But I should have probably had the Ungors or my smaller Bestigor unit back here to kind of bunker the Wizards, because I really don't know what to do with either of those units. And my Wizards back here are very vulnerable, so I probably should have been thinking about that. But anyway, so so of course the Mournfangs and the Iron Guts charge their respective Raider units, and the Iron Blaster gets set up for a nice shot on my Doombull. Man-Eaters charge the Raiders over here. And you can see in the top right, I had a unit of Raiders fighting some Saber-Tusk back there. I kind of forgot about. Yeah, combat's fairly predictable. Mournfangs and the Iron Guts, I don't think we even fought the combats, I just pulled them off. Now, okay, so you'll notice my Doombull actually has 2 wounds taken off of him. And yeah, that was because his Iron Blaster shoots, takes the shot at the Doombull, and I think, okay, no, not a big deal. I got the Charm Shield, ignored on a 2-up, so I roll up the 1. And so he rolls to wound, and he gets it, so not a big deal. I got the Opal Amulet, so I can ignore it on a 4-up, roll that, get a 3. So got pretty lucky, only getting 2 wounds from the Iron Blaster, but I was not too happy when all my anti-cannon gear did exactly nothing against a cannon. But I suppose it was karma, because in the previous turn he popped his Hellheart and failed to get anybody with it. Okay, so here's how we're looking on the right. You can see the Man-Eaters just take care of the Raider unit. Now, in his magic phase, he was actually able to get up he threw a lot of dice at the bubble regeneration, so he's got that up. So both So his Mournfangs, his Iron Guts, and his Bulls all have regeneration, so I'm really not thrilled about that. So my movement, I pull one Shaman out of the charge arc of the Gorger, and the other two, I couldn't figure out a way to move the other two that would kind of protect them from getting charged. So I decided to just put them out here, 8 inches away from each Gorger to help their chances of fleeing, and then but still within 6 inches of the Herdstone for this last kind of hurrah of a magic phase. And you can see the Minotaurs are actually on the table this turn, and I'm kind of moving them up towards the Mournfang, but I probably should be facing towards the Gorgers, or at least not giving up the flank like that. You can see that I dropped a pig in front of the Mournfangs to kind of keep them from getting into the flank of the Bestigor unit, because that'll be nasty. And my Bestigors and my Gores both made their charges. Now, that normally I would really love to see those matchups, but he's got the regeneration up, which really made it tough for me, because it was either charge into a bunch of regenerating Ogres, or just get charged and take some Strength 6 impact hits, and that is just, yeah, what a crappy decision. Yeah, so I just decided to charge, because at least I could get some of my own magic to kind of counter him. Now you'll notice that the pig on the left is blocking the Mournfangs, but the pig on the right, I kind of moved him into that gap, because you can see my Doom Bull behind the Iron Gut unit, and you're not allowed to place a cannon template anywhere where it's going to hit your own troops or troops in combat. So the spot where the pig is kind of where he had to move his Iron Blaster in order to get a shot on my Doom Bull. So I decided to put the pig there so that he wouldn't be able to do that. And then over here I just dropped my Harpies in front of the Man-Eaters so that they can't get in the flank of the Gores, because Man-Eaters are disgusting. Absolutely disgusting, and they will run through that Gore unit so fast, it's unbelievable. Magic is also a complete disaster this turn. I end up getting the same miscast result and killing all of my wizards. Yeah. But not before I could get a little bit of magic through. You can see I dropped the Iron Guts weapon skill to 2, and I got the curse through on them, so they're at -1 to hit. And I was focusing all my magic onto the Iron Gut Bestigor combat, which actually turns out to be kind of a I think it was kind of a mistake, because my Beast Lords got the Stubborn Crown, and they got the Standard Discipline, so they're Stubborn lead 10. But on the other hand, my Gore unit is fighting a bunch of regenerating Bulls with really no magic help whatsoever, so I probably should have let the Bestigors take the hits since they're stubborn, and then used all my magic to buff up the Gore combat. But I didn't do that. I was too focused on, taking down the Slaughtermaster. So anyway, regardless, it is what it is. So yeah, weapon skill 2 Iron Guts with -1 to hit. So when we go into the combats, these are just insanely nasty. Over here, the Gores. Now, he's got regeneration up, so yeah, so my Gores, even though I'm throwing out 30, 37, 38 attacks, rerolling to hit, strength 4, hitting on 3s. I only managed to kill 2 Bulls, and then he comes back, and my Gore unit's hanging by a thread. You can see from my back rank, I have 5 in my back rank, so I'm exactly 1 wound away from losing Steadfast and being on Snake Eyes. So, yeah, that was, the Gore unit's hanging on by a thread. Man, that was a nail-biting combat, I tell you what. Over here, the Iron Guts just kill a truckload of Bestigors. Now, the Bestigors actually do okay. Even with the regen up, you can see they've almost cleared off the back rank of Iron Guts, but taking really heavy casualties in the process. Okay, so I guess this is how we're looking to go into the Ogres next turn. Alright, so you'll notice that there used to be some Minotaurs here. And what happened was he got one of his Gorges into the flank of the Minotaurs, and I figured I'd be alright, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s, and the Musician, but it turns out yeah, he won the combat and broke the Minotaurs and ran him down. So, really not too impressed with the Minotaurs there. Alright, so in the middle, wow. Well, you can see that my gore herd was actually broken, so I lost my BSB and my standard bearer. No, what happened was I just really his regeneration expired in his magic phase this turn. So I really had a chance to do some really hefty damage with my gore unit, but the dice just completely turned against me, and I did almost nothing. You can see I killed maybe 4 bulls. And then he just went to town on the unit, broke steadfast, but I did manage to barely get away. You can see the boxcar dice in the middle there. That was my fleet roll, so luckily I managed to get away. I lost my BSB, but at least my level 4 is still alive. But then you can see that over there on the left, yeah, his Iron Guts managed to do an insane number of wounds. You can see my Bestigor unit is almost nothing. I think they managed to take my Bestigor unit down to 15 or so guys. But since we're both using great weapons, I still got to hit back with all my Bestigors. So I think that was probably the most savage counterattack I've ever seen in a game of Warhammer. It was pretty insane. My Bestigors hit back and killed 8 Iron Guts. So they caused 24 wounds. So that's the most I've ever seen my Bestigor unit do. So. Actually, if you play Beastmen, go ahead and leave a comment on the video if you wouldn't mind, and just tell me what's the maximum number of wounds your Bestigor horde has caused in close combat. So I'd love to know. So 24, that's my max, and there it is. So anyway, they just tear into the Iron Gut unit and break them and run them down. But you can see my Doom Bull's in the way, so we just kind of bumped into him and stopped. Anyway, so that's how it's looking. Okay, so as we go into my next turn, I go ahead and charge. I charge the Bestigors into his Iron Blaster because I might as well get the easy points. I charge my Pig into the Lead Belchers because I'm pretty sure that with the charge and doing a couple of wounds, I can win that combat and hopefully catch him. My stupid Doom Bull is just kind of fooling around back there, failing charges and stuff. Actually, I think I charged him into the rear of the Man-Eaters, and I charged the Bestigor unit to the front, but the Doom Bull failed to charge, and I really, really, really needed him to make it. He only needed like a 6 or so with Swift Stride from the Flying Carpet, but he failed it. So now that Bestigor unit's just going to get run right through by the Man-Eaters. Because Bestigors are good, but they really can't. That unit's not big enough to absorb the casualties that those Man-Eaters are going to do. Plus, they're too far away from my general to make their Primal Fury roll. So I did manage to rally my level 4, which was nice. So in Magic, I kind of try to save this Bestigor unit by throwing a Wild Form on it. But in hindsight, it didn't make a bit of difference. So yeah, here's how we're looking at the end of the turn. You can see his Man-Eaters just chewed through that Bestigor unit. They actually didn't catch it. It's right by the edge of the table. You can't see it in the picture, but yeah, they just chewed right through them. Okay, so that was kind of... so going into the Ogre's next turn, he charges the Man-Eaters into the Bestigors who flee. And then I think he redirects into my Gores, who also flee. And you can see they're barely hanging onto the table edge right there. And then his Bulls charge... the Gores held for the Man-Eater charge, fled the Bull charge, the Bulls then redirected into the Ungors, who also fled. So basically, long story short, is all the Ogre units that charged, including the Yeti back there, all failed the charges, and all the Beastmen units are fleeing, except for my General and my Doom Bull. So I'm not going to try to confuse it with any more details, but that's that. Okay, so here we are. So basically, he reforms in his turn. He reforms the Lead Belchers so he can shoot at my Doom Bull to try to kill him. And basically, he isn't able to. He gets one more wound off the Doom Bull. And so basically, my plan here is I want to take my Doom Bolt into the rear of the Man-Eater unit. If I can rally my level 4, I can throw Savage Beast on him, maybe curse the Man-Eaters, and then I'll be able to get them. And yeah, at least I'll be picking some points up. Then I can take the Bestigors into the Lead Belchers and get those too. And so here's how we're... Oh, and by the way, I still have 2 Gorges and some Mournfangs over here to deal with. So basically, majority of the Beastmen army is in full flight, and they still have tons of nasty Ogre stuff to deal with. Alright, so the Bestigors go ahead and charge the Lead Belcher unit, which flees. They catch the Lead Belchers and reform towards the Mournfangs, because there's really no sense in just giving them the rear or the flank. My Doom Bolt goes ahead and gets into the flank of the Man-Eaters, or the rear of the Man-Eaters, but you can see that my plan all fell apart. I had to rally my Gore unit with my level 4 on a 9 because of the Musician, and I failed. I tried to rally the Bestigor unit and also failed, and then here the Ungors also failed to rally, so they're just barely on the table. So basically, after only 4 turns, 4,000 points of Beastmen are pretty much cleared off the table, and yeah, that's how we're looking at the end of the game. I think at this point, this is only turn 4 or so, but you know, at this point, you know, the beer was calling, so we decided to wrap it up because this is pretty much done. Those Mournfang will probably run right through 15 Bestigors, and yeah, Ungor aren't going to do anything. So anyway, 4 turns of carnage. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and don't forget to tell me, you know, what's your Bestigor kill count. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the report, and I'll catch you guys later.